Fans are devastated by new details regarding Tim Conway's dying days. More tragic than expected. Kelly Conway, his daughter, spoke forward 6 years after his death, validating unpleasant rumors repeated for years. Kelly alleges her father's second wife, Charlene Conway, forbade her from visiting or saying goodbye as his health worsened. Kelly says she wasn't told her father died, making problems worse. Her heartfelt confession reveals the beloved actor's tragic end, a shocking revelation for fans worldwide. Tim Conway. On December 15, 1933, Thomas Daniel Conway was born in Willoughby, Ohio. He grew up in nearby Chagrin Falls, which shaped his straightforward humor and small-town charm. Father Daniel, who immigrated from Ireland in 1927, groomed polo ponies, while Mother Sophia was a first-generation Romanian-American. Their Irish wit and Romanian warmth produced a boy who would make the world laugh. To prevent confusion with another actor, Chrysan Thomas, sometimes called Toma by his mother, took the name Tim early in his career. Conway joined the U.S. military after studying radio and television at Bowling Green State University, where he was a popular campus DJ. Army 1956 to 1958. Tim Conway's gentle comedic brilliance was forged in those humble but promising years. Tim Conway returned to Cleveland after the Army and started his TV career. He made weird local advertisements with his close buddy Ernie Anderson at KYW-TV in the late 1950s to highlight Conway's eccentric humor. He performed and wrote skits for Ernie's Place on WJW-TV in the early 1960s, where their spontaneous humor became popular. His creativity was apparent, but Conway's light-hearted exaggeration of his director expertise got him fired, which ironically opened new avenues. When Rosemarie from the Dick Van Dyke Show visited WJW in 1961, she saw Conway's natural comic potential. He relocated to New York with her aide and became a regular performer on The Steve Allen Show, performing alongside television greats and perfecting his soft absurdity. His 1960s role as innocent and endearing Ensign Charles Parker on McHale's Navy brought him national fame. Conway's innocence and comedic appeal made him famous opposite Ernest Borgnine. Borgnine was Conway's mentor and lifelong friend, whom he honored at the Screen Actors Guild Awards. Despite failing at Rango and Turn On, a sketch program canceled after one episode, Conway's wit remained seductive. His talent lay in calm, unanticipated absurdity that surprised everyone. When he joined Carol Burnett, his charm fit perfectly. After years of guest appearances, Conway became a regular cast member in 1975, winning writing and acting Emmys. The Oldest Man, whose slow-motion physical humor drove audiences to tears, was one of his memorable roles. Mr. Tudball, a clumsy businessman with a Romanian mother-inspired accent, became famous. Conway's genius was making others laugh uncontrollably. Carol Burnett, Vicki Lawrence, and Dick Van Dyke often changed character mid-scene, laughing uncontrollably. From the Hitler puppet act to the elephant narrative, Conway's mischievousness brought television's greatest joy. He stayed on The Carol Burnett Show until 1978, leaving a legacy of amusement based on jokes, warmth, timing, and heartfelt comedy, a rare gift from a man who found magic in seeing others smile. Tim Conway, a beloved comedian, had a heartbreaking decline that revealed family divisions. The comedian who made millions laugh was embroiled in a grueling legal and emotional battle by the time he could no longer care for himself. From 1961 to 1978, Conway was married to Mary and Dalton, with whom he had 6 children. Then from 1978 to 1985, to Charlene Fusco, with whom he had 2 daughters 1984 until his death in 2019. He became Charlene's daughter Jacqueline's stepfather through that marriage. After Tim Conway died, his daughter Kelly never received the call she expected. Charlene didn't call to say her father died. Kelly wasn't surprised. By then, she and Charlene were fighting over her father's conservatorship and medical treatment in court. Kelly accused Charlene of neglecting her father. After a judge ruled against Kelly, mediation was needed to enable her restricted visitation with her father. My Dad's Funnier Than Your Dad, Kelly's biography about growing up with Tim Conway in America's Funniest House, recounted the tragic and strange experience. She vividly depicted a happy childhood, shadowed by her father's latter years' terrible family breakdown. Kelly remembered a less harsh past. Tim and Charlene had a good relationship before his illness. Her stepmother's commitment to her father impressed her, and Tim loved her. When illness struck, their happy, caring marriage began to collapse. It started with minor disputes that revealed a larger power struggle. Kelly remembered bringing sandwiches and treats to her father, but Charlene threw them away, claiming she should manage his meals. What started as a caregiving difference became much darker. Kelly claimed Charlene progressively isolated her from her ailing father after decades of friendship. Tim's illness further exacerbated stress. Kelly and her siblings were unable to change their father's final chapter. Kelly wasn't sure if her siblings would be allowed at his funeral. Despite the ceremony's coolness, the Conway children honored their father in their own way. After the funeral, they went to one of Tim's favorite pizza shops, a simple place that brought back memories of the family's better times. They honored their dad with laughing, raucous reminiscing, and pizza slices. A man who could warm up a room, find humor in life's messiest circumstances, and teach his kids that laughter was life's best gift. Kelly saw that gathering as a meaningful farewell, a moment of peace and joy without her father's wrath. Without reconciliation, she will remember the man who made the world laugh and the bittersweet truth that behind every great comedian are tears unseen by the audience. Kelly Conway now works as a hairstylist in Los Angeles, apart from her family's fame. She carries on her father's legacy. Kelly said her most often asked question is what it was like growing up with Tim Conway as a parent, which inspired her memoir, My Dad's Funnier Than Your Dad. In interviews and her book, she answers simply and warmly. She said she had the nicest childhood ever. Her house was full of laughing, pranks, and play. Life with Tim Conway wasn't only TV comedy. Behind closed doors, it was fun. But the memoir goes beyond laughs. It's about love, loss, and the sorrows of family trials. Kelly knew people would misinterpret her story and accuse her of creating the book for attention, money, or to control her father's money in his senior years. She claims her acts were motivated by kindness, not greed. She says her only goal was to comfort her father as his health worsened. In her conservatorship application, she demanded that his accountants and attorneys handle all financial concerns and that she not handle any money. Her primary purpose was to give her father compassionate medical care in his final days. Kelly's dream was to reunite with her father, to give him familiar warmth instead of medical sterility in his final days. She thought being in his own environment, among his memories, laughter, and family, would have helped him cope with his illness. Kelly still doesn't understand why her desire wasn't granted. Hollywood grieved Tim Conway's 2019 death. Celebrity comedians and entertainers paid tribute. Patton Oswalt, Ben Stiller, Ed Asner, Dick Van Dyke, and more. A moving message from his old buddy Bob Newhart called Tim one of the finest comedians ever and said he and his wife would miss him. Carol Burnett, Conway's close friend and collaborator, shared her grief, saying he would always be in her heart. A legend was lost to fans and performers. It meant more to his family. The death of a parent, husband, and gentle spirit who made them laugh. Kelly and Charlene may never reconcile, but they shared one truth. Their individual loves for Tim were deep. Kelly remembers her father as the kind, humorous, and always kind and funny man who made every time brighter. She still remembers him as the man who could make the world laugh. Never stopped being her dad. Tim Conway continued his search for a show with the same comic spark as the Carol Burnett Show in the early 1970s. The 1970 sitcom The Tim Conway Show reunited him with Joe Flynn from McHale's Navy is his first try. The two played struggling airline owners flying Lucky Linda, a rundown jet. Though their quick-fire banter charmed spectators, the show only aired for 6 months before being dropped. Conway's variety show, The Tim Conway Comedy Hour, ended after 13 weeks later that year. In his self-deprecating style, he had his car's license plate read 13WKS to honor its brief run. Conway remained popular on TV despite the failures. He voiced new Scooby-Doo movies, participated in the ABC after-school special The Crazy Comedy Concert, and played small but memorable roles in fairy tale theater. One of his longest creative partnerships was with Don Knotts. Their family-friendly comic chemistry appeared in Disney successes including The Apple Dumpling Gang and its sequel, The Prize Fighter and The Private Eyes. In 1980, CBS revived The Tim Conway Show, giving Conway another chance to host a variety show. This version lasted longer than his previous self-titled efforts and reunited him with Harvey Korman, Carol Burnett, and Vicki Lawrence. It reflected the Carol Burnett show's warmth and friendship with sketches and music, allowing Conway's leisurely humor to shine. Conway experimented throughout the 1980s. He starred in Ace Crawford, Private Eye, a short-lived detective drama parody, and hosted Tim Conway's Funny America, a hidden camera prank series that showed his passion of spontaneous comedy. He became famous again with his fumbling pint-sized character Dorf. After debuting on The Tonight Show in 1986, Dorf's exaggerated antics in spoof instructional videos like Dorf on Golf became cult favorites with multiple sequels and a loyal following. Conway's lighthearted comedy made him ideal for family films, from Disney's The World's Greatest Athlete and Gus to Dear God and Air Bud, Golden Receiver. He performed with simple enthusiasm, never mean, always human. Voice acting revived Conway in the 1990s and beyond. His most famous late-career role was Barnacle Boy in SpongeBob SquarePants, facing his old friend Ernest Borgnine as Mermaid Man. The creators wrote the parts for them, honoring their McHale's Navy days. The Simpsons, The Proud Family, Hercules, and Rating Rainbow all benefited from Conway's pleasant voice. His coach and 30 Rock guest appearances garnered him Emmys, showing that his humorous instincts were still acute late in life. Conway was a staple of American comedy, appearing in Hot in Cleveland with his buddy Carol Burnett and voicing Batman, the Brave and the Bold. Later collaborations with Don Knotts in Hermie and Friends and Harvey Korman in Together Again were love letters to old-fashioned humor. Simple, funny, and heartfelt. He captivated new generations on CSY, Mike and Molly, 2.5 Men, and Glee. Tim Conway often maintained he never wanted fame in his life. His goal was to make people laugh. From a little-town child in Ohio to a television legend with a dozen series, 2 Disney icons, and 60 years of fun, Conway's story is quiet resilience. His wit was never nasty or loud. The gentle kind inspired grins as the curtain fell.